Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Phenomenal Me. My name is Manel. If it's your first time here, welcome. On this channel, I'm sharing my Black experience. I'm promoting positivity and highlighting Black history makers. So, welcome. I hope you enjoy. Today, I have an interview with Dr. Laurie Samuels. She's a criminologist and she's founded a Cupid Sting nonprofit. This nonprofit focuses on preventing violence against women and teaching us how to be safe both in and outside our homes. I hope you guys really enjoy this talk. There's lots of good information shared. If you like my videos, if you like what I'm doing, feel free to press that subscribe button. I post videos every Sunday, so press the notification bell so you don't miss any. I'm going to leave you here, so take care, have a great week. I'll see you next week. Everyone, Manel Williams here. How are you guys? I hope you are doing well. Today, I have a guest. I'm going to be highlighting a Black-owned nonprofit, and we will talk to Dr. Laurie Samuels. She is the founder of Cupid Stings. So
Yes.
let you introduce yourself first. Okay.
Sure. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Laurie L.J. Samuel. I am a criminologist and the founder and executive director of Cupid Sting nonprofit. And Cupid Sting is a women's safety nonprofit. And my main mission is to teach women life-saving skills in order to protect themselves inside and outside the home.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I was connected with one of your lives. Now, the live that really touched me, I don't even remember her name. There was a lady sharing her story.
Mary Ann.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I watched that live. I had something else to do and I was literally pushing it, saying, I can't stop. I need to be a part of this story. And this is so important. So that's how I got involved. So tell us a little bit about how you're helping the women in those situations.
Right. So, two things. So what I do, I really consider myself an advocate for women in terms of safety, in terms of violence, in terms of domestic violence. And my platform initially started as a program, an interpersonal violence reduction program, because what I was seeing, I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time, but what I was seeing was not an increase in the number of incidents, but an increase in the overall brutality of violence against women. So instead of, what you would kind of call now your run-of-the-mill fight where there would be some pushing and shoving, you were now seeing husbands, intimate partners stalking their wives and partners and setting them on fire, for example. That's the greatest example that I can use. And I was working at the police department, so I had access to all kinds of data, and I was seeing, these patterns in these cases. And I just thought, as a woman, I need to do more. I need to do more to prepare other women. I have this knowledge and I have this education. This is what I need to do. So I really found some purpose in that. And I created some proactive programming, starting with self-defense. So a lot of times women are afraid of the stranger danger. They're afraid of walking down the street and somebody attacking them. While I want you to still be cognizant and aware of your surroundings when you're outside the home, where you really need to pay attention and be afraid is inside the home. Because when we look at the statistics, when we look at the numbers, most of the abuse, most of the attacks happen within the home and at the hands of somebody that you love. So what we do at Cupid Sting is I teach self-defense classes. I lead workshops on domestic violence, on healthy relationships, what that looks like, dating abuse, street harassment, you name it. Yeah. But with COVID, of course, we've had to pivot. So I've been spending a lot more time on Instagram, giving tips, talking about different domestic violence stories, because a lot of times people think that it's not my problem, it's happening over there, it's not my business, that's their business, but it is your business, and that's what I want to do. So I've really prided myself on creating space, but a safe space where women can come and tell their story, where women can come and heal, where women can come and use the resources, whether that's me or anything else that is offered through the nonprofit. And what you were referring to earlier is a series that I do on Instagram called Cupid Sting Combos, where
Mhm.
we have some real talk and some hard talk, as you can tell from that particular day,
Mhm.
where we're talking about issues that impact us. And a lot of times, we as Black women and women of color are disproportionately impacted by violence and domestic violence. So I really wanted to highlight that. So bi-weekly, or we do it once a week when I have somebody that's willing to be interviewed, we jump on and we talk about what's going on in your life and what's happened in your past, so that other people can
Mhm.
kind of get a sense of like they're not alone. Oh, this person looks like me, or when I look at this person, I would never think that she would be a victim because of whatever, she's a movie star, or a cop, or whatever the case may be. So that's my contribution right now. And yeah, I enjoy it because it's helping women.
Yes. I think you mentioned the it's not my business. And that's literally what I thought at the end of that Cupid Sting combo. I was thinking, my goodness, like how many people in these situations might I know?
Right.
But you don't know what to do, right? You don't know whether you
Mhm.
want to. I don't want to ask you these questions. Actually, I was
Right.
just watching a girl episode of Girlfriends about that yesterday,
Mhm.
where there was
Right.
the girl being abused, and it's like, what do you do? Do you go and just barge into their house? Like,
Mhm.
it's. Do you
So
have?
it's delicate. And
Mhm.
a lot of times when people intervene, what I say is that you do it safely,
Yeah.
right? If you're not comfortable, that's fine. But what you can say is, hey, if everything's not going on okay, if you're not okay, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here, I'm your friend, I'm a sounding board. You can come over. I know it's really hard now, but you can come over with your mask, whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
you have to let people know that you're in their corner and you're available if they need assistance. Again, if you're not trained or if you don't feel comfortable to intervene, but you can call the police. There are a lot of things you can do. People will say, all the time, especially if you live in a more densely populated situation like an apartment building, that you hear the fighting and no one calls the police. But what I always say is that there is a spillover effect. And you might get involved, that and you don't want to get involved because you're in the hallway and this fight happens and then somebody pulls out a weapon and you get shot. You know what I mean? Just being an innocent bystander. So in terms again of community, if we care about one another, just like the humanity of one another, then we have to do things to help one another out. So yeah, you can do something as simple as calling the police or just telling somebody that you're there for them if they need to talk.
With regards to calling police on
Mhm.
something like that, is that I, in this state and in this situation right now in
Mhm.
this day and age, I don't feel comfortable calling the police on anyone if I
Mhm.
don't need to. Is
Mhm.
there a better person that I can call? Um, or what do you know? Well, maybe because you've worked with the police, do you know what they're doing in that moment? I just, to me, I don't want to make the situation worse by calling. That's
Yeah.
why I want to call.
So
Mm.
it's a very tenuous situation, particularly in our community,
Mm.
that oftentimes women will not call the police because they don't want to put their men in a situation where they may be killed or treated worse.
Yeah.
But I balance that. I balance that with, okay, they're beating you to inches of your life or setting you on fire, shooting you, stabbing you, whatever the case may be. And a lot of times, the incidents that I'm referring to are not minor, but any violence is not minor in my mind. So I balance that with your life and your safety. The nice thing about the region of Peel and with Peel Regional Police, they actually have a dedicated domestic violence unit where the officers are trained and properly trained to recognize signs and red flags.
Yeah.
These are the ones that are going to the houses over and over and over again. But you have to get to that point. So if you're not comfortable calling the police, there are services. You can call Cupid Sting. There, somebody can act as a third party for you. The interim, uh, the name escapes me. Interim something of Peel.
Yeah.
Field Services. I'll get the name for you so you
Okay.
can put it in your description. But there are services. But ultimately, the victim is going to have to make a decision which way she's going to go. Are you going to stay in the situation? And remember, oftentimes there are little eyes also looking because you've got children. You have your parents, because remember, sometimes the violence is just not to you, it's threats to killing and taking the children, threats to harming your elderly parents. So those are the things that you also have to think about, because a lot of times these threats do come true. So but I get it, I totally get it in terms of involving formal measures, but a decision is going to have to be made, because this person is a monster and should be behind bars. And I get it, but the decision is going to have to be made about your own safety. So it's either you or him. And yes, we can kind of soften the blow with involving others to kind of help you through that situation.
I'm sure you do this all the time, but can you give us some tips on what to look for if we suspect that someone is being abused?
Certainly, certainly. One of the main things is the isolation. So abusers tend to isolate their victims. So let's suppose, we're talking all the time, pinging each other on Instagram all the time, and then a whole week goes by and you don't see me on Instagram. You don't see me post anything. That would be out of the ordinary, wouldn't it? Because we're always on Instagram or we're always talking. So
Yeah.
those are some of the key flags in
Yeah.
terms of a red flag that you should start looking for. Especially now, everybody is at home. So it was a little different when you're going out to work and you're on the GO train and you're on the 401 and people were just busy. But now you're home, you're working from home, you're playing from home, you're schooling from home. If you don't hear from somebody, that is very strange.
Mm.
Another key area is that if there is some withdrawal from regular activities. So let's say as a family now during COVID, every Sunday evening you have a family Zoom so everybody can connect. And then all of a sudden that person starts dropping off, or they're on the Zoom in dark sunglasses, or their camera is off because they don't want you to see them. Things that are out of ordinary. And let me tell you, God has blessed us with discernment, and this is the time that we really need to use it. Because if somebody runs across your mind and you're just like, I haven't heard from Manal. Manal was not on the family Zoom. Something might be going on. And for me, it's better to ask and be wrong than not to ask and be right. We don't want to read about our friends and family, our neighbors in the paper, or see them on the news to hear that they've been harmed, or worse yet, have been killed.
Mhm. Agreed. Agreed. That's great. Thank you. I
You're
also
welcome.
really appreciated, just flipping a little bit here, the tips. So you gave us some tips about wintertime walking as women and not walking with our hands in our pockets. And I thought about that because oftentimes if I'm walking to my car and it's late at night, I'll take my keys, I'll hold my keys and I'm walking
Yep.
to my car. But I was like, I never even thought about not having my hands in my pockets because then I
Yeah.
can't do anything. So yeah.
Nothing at all. Yeah. And it's really simple. I think a lot of times you just have to be reminded. And again, there's so much going on. We're so busy. It's just those simple reminders that, ladies, slow down. Ladies, have you considered this? Because your safety, I say it all the time, is paramount. We do everything. If you're not safe and if you're not available, nothing's going to get done.
Very true. Okay,
Yeah.
please tell us, how can we support you?
Well, number of ways. Please follow Keep It Staying on social media. I post a lot of safety tips, as you mentioned, and information on virtual events that you can share with your friends and family. We have a website, www.keepitstain.org. That would also be another way. But one of the main ways that with COVID, our funding has completely dried up. And I know that we're not the only ones experiencing this, but when it comes to women-centered agencies, we tend to kind of feel the brunt of it. So we have a fundraiser coming up on December 1st, which is Giving Tuesday, where we are just asking for any little bit that people feel that's on their heart to give, which will help support programming for women so that we can offer virtual programming, we can offer counseling, and continue doing the work that we're doing. But in addition to that, if somebody donates, you get access to our free webinar. We have a brand new webinar called Wits Not Weapons, which is going to give some safety tips and information in terms of really how do you pivot and how do you protect yourself during COVID-19. And I have a book that's called Dear Diary that I wrote, which is a murder mystery, but it's a domestic violence murder. And we're also giving that away. So we have a lot of freebies and goodies, but we really, really, really need the community support right now. And if you're not able to support financially, that's fine. If you could support in terms of time, and again, in terms of, introductions and just making sure that you're staying on top of the information, we'd be so appreciative.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much. I
welcome.
appreciate you being here and chatting with me. All right. And I'll have all your information in the comments below.
Okay, great. Thanks, Manal. Thank you really for having us. Take care.
I just want to talk about one thing that I said in that video, and it was my question about not feeling comfortable about calling the police. And I feel like I need to explain it, but I think it's clear. But just in case, it's just weird right now. If it is a life or death situation, absolutely call the police. Absolutely. If I can call a crisis counselor, if I can call somebody else, what are my alternatives? And that's really what I'm looking in my life. That's what I'm looking at right now. Who is the best person to call in each individual situation? I think that's what I'm trying to find. Because if it's the police, you call the police. But if it's not, perhaps I need to call someone else. So that's what I mean, and that's where I am, and this is what I'm working through right now. That's it. All right, guys. Take care. I was sitting down this morning and I thought, da da da, fresh face, everything's good. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Put your hair in. Get ready, I forgot.
Don't forget that. Don't forget that.